And welcome to Rune Recaps, Rune Reviews. This is a podcast where we review some of our favorite movies, mostly Marvel movies, mostly comic book movies. But today we have a very special movie and a very special guest. Today we have my boy Phenom Black from the Where's My 40 Acres podcast. What up, man?
Was good.
And we will be talking about the movie that everyone, at this point in time, by the time you listen to this, will have either seen or will be seen and will be broken by it. That's Marvel's Infinity War. So before we get into the review, Phenom, if you could tell them about your podcast and your podcast network.
But first of all, I don't call it Infinity Wars. I call it Infinity Tears.
Tears.
And yeah, so Where's My 40 Acres originally was a hip hop podcast, but now it is ratchet pop culture commentary about some of your favorite shenanigans happening in the week. Where the barbershop is fashion, it's me and three other friends, and we do it every Wednesday night and release it Thursday mornings. And in addition to that, we have our own premium network where we also do movie reviews. Sometimes we do album reviews. We do craft beer reviews. If you drink, you can come drink with us. And we do live watches. So there's this app out there called Rab It, and it will allow us to do group watches. So we doing that shit now too. First one we did was Trading Places. Because
that was so good too. That was good.
Yeah, so we just do fun shit with podcasts. We just try to be innovative and keep everything fresh and keep it funny.
And no doubt, I appreciate you for coming on. And also, just to let y'all know, I am a premium member of their podcast as well, so you should definitely go check them out. They got years of content. If you like any of the guests we've had on so far, well, you probably know all the guests we've had on before. This is in that same group, man. Like just people I trust to actually listen to their opinions and, know that they ain't going to be on fuck shit. So with that being said, let's get into Marvel's Infinity War. So how we're going to structure this review is a little bit different than how we normally do our non-spoiler reviews. We're not really going to talk about the movie as much as what we're going to talk about is the feeling of how you felt when we saw Infinity War. So, Phenom, if you don't mind, tell me how you felt, because we saw it the same day. We've been sitting on this for a couple of days, and by this point in time, while we're recording it, the first people are probably getting out of the movie theater in America. So how did you feel coming out of the movie theater?
Well, I feel like I saw this film and then I read tweets like, just finished Janelle Monáe's Dirty Computer, and it's the best visual movie I've seen in forever. But did you see Infinity Tears?
Right.
Because you didn't. And I love Janelle, and I think Dirty Computer is going to probably be amazing as shit. But Infinity Tears is easily one of the best visual displays of new cinematic technology being used to the best of its fucking abilities to blow away the audience. It is fucking phenomenal. And what I felt during the film was like enjoyment, joy. It was exhilarating. It was fast paced. It was just great.
Right.
And then the end happened. I cannot stop thinking about the fact that the part 2 to this does not come out until May 3rd of 2019. I don't know how I'm going to deal with wrapping up this and wrapping up Game of Thrones at the same time.
Right.
Next year. It's going to be way too much emotion from television and films, but I accept all of that on my back. I'm a strong person. It'll go how it goes. It's just so much you can get from this. This has been 10 years in coming. And I just love the fact that despite us going through 60 something plus fucking characters from the Marvel universe, right, and being able to jam pack them all into this damn movie flawlessly and giving each of them enough screen time for you to be completely satisfied with what we've been waiting for since '08. I love the fact that I still got a new story from Thanos. Like it's like Marvel does not know how to do a badass film. Like they definitely had some missteps. I'm definitely not a fan of the first Thor and Thor 2. And I'm not a huge fan of Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3. I'll flip past. But generally everything else, and that's a lot of fucking films, everything else equates to, I can watch all of that. So to have all of that add up to this, to have all of that add up to all of this.
This
It's
this
just
this
like
was
there's no other experience you can get from there's no other film series out there that I think you can get this experience from.
well,
Right? It's just they
it's
all
impossible.
if they're good, they're okay versions of this. This
Right.
is just some new shit that we have never seen.
Exactly. This is
And
this and
it's crazy.
me being a Star Wars fan, and like a huge Star Wars fan. I don't think I hide that very well. Um, this is what Star Wars, the original trilogy, was supposed to be. Like, I love the original trilogy, but if they had time to build a storyline over multiple years, like they did with the Infinity War, like, put it this way, every single character in this movie I cared about in some way and was already familiar with. This movie doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't give you any type of run through, no run up. And if even if you haven't seen any of the other Marvel movies, this movie stands on its own, which is like the craziest thing you can say. When I came out of the theater, and keep in mind when we saw it with a bunch of hard nosed ass critics who don't really, they don't really show emotion. They don't clap. They don't ooh and I like they don't do any of that. And in my screening, there was a actual gasp at the end of the fucking movie, like, and it. I've never seen that in any of my other screenings. And for me, I actually had to sit in the car. Like, I sat in the car for like 5 minutes. Like, what? I don't know what the fuck to do. Like, wow, I don't. It's like it was like a roller coaster, and I was filled with adrenaline, and didn't know what to do with myself. Like, I sat in the car and just was like, I need to talk to somebody about this. I don't know what to do. And I hope that you all get the same type of experience that me and Phenom got out of the movie. Uh, what was one of your not scenes, but one of your standout characters or group of characters? And let's not really mention who gets grouped together, but like one of your like standout characters.
I mean, straightforward. Thanos is a standout
It
character,
is
but the henchmen are standout characters. And as far as seeing without spoiling any like really important scene or even a scene that gives you satisfactory entertainment that might have some shit you'd want to see without anybody really giving you a hint of what's going to go down or who's going to interface in that scene. I'll say that the scene that hit me the hardest after I went through and really sat on this movie and thought about it from beginning to end is actually the opening credits.
mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
not the scene with the opening credits, but Marvel does that whole Marvel opener with the flipping through the different comics and giving you the past, present, and now with the way they go through it all. You know, if there's a new character, they get added into that little animation.
Right.
They change something about that.
Yep.
And it immediately sets the tone for the film, which they then mislead you through out the rest of the film with because there's so much comedy. So
Yes, absolutely.
I
This movie
felt
is
like
hilarious.
I felt like that was just a genius move on their part, and I think it was something that made this film feel shorter. I had to decompress because of the ending. Like
Yes,
because I
absolutely.
felt like I got I felt like I got okey doked,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what really hurt. Like I
Yep.
wasn't prepared, and I don't think anybody will be prepared.
Nope.
It's so good. Like there's it's just it's the inevitableness of a two-part series.
Yep.
So yeah,
It,
and whatever you think you know, you don't know shit.
yeah.
And I say that with complete confidence. All of these like people talking about, oh, this character is gonna have to die. Like everybody had their little madness, March Madness checkoff list for who's gonna get it in this film. You're all wrong. You have absolutely no idea. You,
Zero.
like you thought you might, but you really don't.
Right. And then just to add on to that, on social media, I don't want to see y'all humble bragging like y'all knew what the fuck was going on.
It, yo, I've seen that. I have
Bullshit.
seen people saying it was
Bullshit.
predictable. They are predictably bullshit.
Ain't no
Get,
way in hell.
you did not predict any of this.
Nope. Like in
They said that they changed from what's in the comics on purpose. So you didn't predict any of this shit.
right. And also, this is their Steph Curry shooting from half court. Like they just like fuck it. We're just gonna do whatever we want. And as a comic book fan, I absolutely have no idea where it's gonna go. Like I couldn't tell you from beginning to end where this. I have no idea where it's going to be, where it starts, where it ends, and I'm so happy about that. Also, Marvel lies to you. I don't know if y'all realize this yet. Marvel fucking lies to y'all on purpose. So don't think those trailers spoiled anything.
They don't spoil shit.
Anything.
I
Um,
Watching this was like watching a basketball game where your team is playing,
yep,
but
absolutely.
you know who they playing against.
Right. And one of the things that stood out to me is the amount of tension that they were able to sustain throughout the entire movie. Like it's not one part where you get a break. Like you don't get even 5 minutes to breathe before something else happens. And would you agree with me on that, or do you have a different?
Extremely fast for applaudable reasons.
Yes.
It's not done recklessly. It is done with a bit of finesse that I think only Marvel has been able to get the handles on.
Right.
I thought
Right.
it was perfectly. You all your Ocean 11, 8, 13 films or whatever the fuck, they do not finesse character interfacing the way that this film does. They do not finesse planet to planet galaxy jumping the way this film does. They do not fucking finesse plot and subplot development and progression the way this film does.
They use a hammer, and it still has a level of finesse that I was not expecting. And yes, we're all emotionally attached to these characters, but I didn't think it would be this emotional of a movie. And I was shocked through and through. Like there were multiple times, which I'm not saying I cried, but there are multiple times that I would suspect that people will cry through this movie. Not just one or two, like maybe 3 or 4 times.
There was one for me, and
Mm.
that's where it's really hard to get me.
Yeah,
I watched some savage shit, so it's really hard to get me, and they got me. They almost got me with one. I was like, "Nah, don't do that.
right,
Don't."
right. And one of the things um that I was really surprised about is you wind up rooting for Thanos a little bit, like
To a degree.
to a degree. Like they make him very relatable, like in a way that I did not expect them to. So I'm like I said before, we're gonna do a non-spoiler review as well, but overall, I just wanted to get this out there to get y'all prepared. Excuse me, for what y'all are about to experience if you have not experienced it already. And for those that have already experienced it, you definitely understand what we're talking about. Phenom, if you could give me maybe your final thoughts about why people are gonna go see this fucking movie, but why people should see this movie.
Inevitably, the real reason that you should see this movie, and I've heard the complaint that some people felt like not enough of their favorite characters got enough screen time in this, but the real reason that any of us are going to see this movie is because it's actually titled Infinity Wars Thanos.
Right,
We've been waiting for light skinned Thanos since we saw dark skinned Thanos in the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
right,
And this is his film. This is his story. I thought it was executed perfectly, and I think it's amazing that after 10 years, all these characters, all these different stories, all these sequels, that Marvel is still able to give us new stories and literally the ultimate villain.
right. That by far, hands down, the best villain Marvel has ever produced. And this is saying it from somebody who just saw Killmonger, and I thought he was phenomenal as well. He Thanos kind of blows the doors off Killmonger
Yeah.
in multiple ways. So, like I said, man, this has just been something I wanted to get out there real quick for y'all to kind of listen to. Be on the lookout for our spoiler review. We're gonna put it on our Patreon. So if you're not a patron, we're gonna get it on Patreon. We'll get it first. By the way, go subscribe to our Patreon if you have not already. Also, our new logo is out. Both of them. Those will be going on the T Public store very soon. And with that being said, the old shirts are coming off. So if you want to get one of those T Public shirts, look for it in one of the original BAP logo shirts. Look for it in the T Public store. It will be going off at the end of this month. Thank you, Phenom, for coming on so quickly and breaking it down for me. I appreciate you, and I also love the show. Y'all should definitely go check them out. They just did one about if you listen to our fireside chat on premium, you'll understand about the FanCon fiasco and things like that. We talked about it as well. So thank you very much for being on. And until next time, y'all, peace.